Hello, welcome back. Thank you so much for watching, for listening, because it means a lot and it saves a soul. I hope the last episode gave you something which was really important to understand in our lives. Losing yourself, actually, how it feels like. So if you missed it, please go check it out. It will guide you. It will help you on how to be your best version, and also give you the permission to stop pretending and be your real you. Today we are going to talk about something else, and which is going to be the one which almost closes our season. We are going to a place that comes after apart, all the delays, because here is what I've learned on the journey, that falling apart is not the end of your story. In many ways, in the beginnings of the true self, it is the only way everything you build your life around collapses, that you finally get to see what was real if you fall apart. What was always yours, or maybe the body could take when you took everything else. Today we are talking about that more clarity, which I call clarification. And it's almost our lives in a different expectations and ways of our life, how we can go about it. And I want to be honest about what it feels like when life gets tough and eventually comes undone to a fall apart. The first thing that goes to your sense, I know, of who you are is the story you always tell yourself or told yourself about who were or where your life was going and what your days were supposed to mean. That is the first thing which comes to your mind. And what is left is terrifying. What you don't understand is really, really very important, because it's not just you. Without the title, maybe the relationships or the structure that told you that what to do next, or maybe who you to be while you did it. Just you, standing in the robe of a life that looked fine from the outside until it didn't. Until you understand nothing worked. I need you to hear this. In that rawness, exposed, betrays, something else becomes even more possible. And that is the truth. When the noise stops, the falling apart is now the loudest silence we always experience. We can finally hear yourself thinking, maybe pretending or performing, but the real yours is denied. The ones you have been drowning out of. Maybe you're very busy. The routines you always make every single morning, or maybe in the evening, and eventually in the process something comes up. That clarity does not come despite the falling apart. It becomes because of that circumstance. I know that it's hard to hear when you're still in the middle of a rope or something people say from the other side. But I'm telling you from someone who has stood where you are standing right now. The falling apart wasn't the worst thing that happened to me. It was the most honest thing which revealed the true self of myself. The one which I can bring home to be myself again. There is a psalm that I also return again and again whenever I'm in the midst of understanding or having that clarity. This talks about one man who was the bravest man I've ever admired in life. And that is David. Wrote this from a real place. A place of shadows and danger and the kind of darkness that feels like it has weight. Even though I walk through the darkest valley, I'll fear no evil, for you are with me, and your rod and your staff, they comfort me. Even though I walk through the darkest valley. Oh, how does that sound? To me, that's not a shortcut for falling apart. You have to walk through it. And I think what breaks so many of us, that we spend the valley trying to escape the valley. We rush the grief, maybe perform the recovery, and we end up wanting to run from the feeling. But the deepest valley is the game to bring us back. And the valley keeps waiting. But here is what David understood that I did not for a long period of time. You are not alone in the valley. Let's change our mindset of thinking that even in every circumstances we are alone. You are not walking through the road of your life unaccompanied. There is always a presence, a rod and a staff, tools for guidance and for protection, not just to carry you out before you have walked even a full distance, but a tool to make sure you don't walk it without direction. That valley is where clarity comes from, where clarity grows, where clarity manifests. In the valley, where the soil is dark and rich from everything that has fallen and broken and composed down into something new, I'll let you know that you're just growing in it. A valley makes you grow. You don't need to run from it. Walking through it all the ways through it, you don't need to be afraid. Just take a step of being a bold and brave enough to walk through it. So I want to tell you what clarity feels like for me. And I want you to understand this, because I think we imagine clarity as a certain brightness, a moment where everything makes sense and the path forward appears little and obvious. That's not what happened. Clarity for me felt like a subtraction. When I say subtraction, it meant like a slow removal of noise I had been living with so long, I had forgotten it was noise. A constant background hum of other people's expectation, a low level, anxious of managing how I was perceived, the exciting performance of having it all together. I remember when my life fell apart, all of that stopped. It wasn't by choice, but it was by collapse. And in the silence that followed, which was uncomfortable and frightening, and nothing like peace at first. But let me tell you something. I began to hear things I hadn't heard in years. I heard what I actually wanted. What in the most private and honest part of my life actually wanted. That's what I really wanted. That's what I really had. For my days, for my relationships, my work, for my future, I had what I was no longer willing to accept. And I had something I had almost entirely lost. My own voice. Talking to myself in a quiet, with honesty, with a kind of direction, clear assessment, you can only have when you are no longer trying to protect a version, every events that have already fallen apart. And that's what clarity felt like. Not in a daylight of lightning, but it was like a flow that has been so familiar, I had stopped noticing. Finally, and suddenly, I could see for miles. So, here is the thing. Clarity is not something you force. And you can't force it, my dear. But there are conditions you can create that allows it to alive. And here are the 3 practices to help you in the midst of all that, to bring the clarity which has been hidden for so long. 1, create 1 moment of deliberate silence each day. When you have a moment of yourself each day, there is a way it brings this clarity in you. Just sit with yourself with the honesty, without managing that quiet. Just become, maybe peace. Because I've learned that if you're peace and calm, you start to bring that version which has been missing you, and you start to understand. Let the thoughts that have been waiting at the edge come forward. You don't need to act on any of it. Just let them be heard, because clarity needs silence. The way seeds need soil. You can't grow what you will not give space to. Give yourself space if you want to see growth. Secondly is that ask the question your old life never let you ask. This is very common, because on this journey, this is when you understand to ask your honest question to guide you. Here is it. What would I do? Who would I be? How would I live if I were no longer afraid of disappointing anyone? Those questions are just amazing, because they are bringing truest clarification from you. The version of your future that your fear has been editing for this too long, that you really forgot where your clarity even lives. Isn't that amazing? So just, you need that quiet moment. We started in 1. Then ask yourself, honest version of you. Lastly, stop calling falling apart a failure. To my understanding, as David told you, is the deepest valley which helps you to bring this clarity of who you truly are. I want you to practice it as something which is reframing what happened to you. Because on the journey, in the process, you will start to shift the story you were telling yourself about what it means. What if it wasn't a failure? What if it was just clearing your mind to understand and see clearly your vision? That's the thing with seeing falling apart as you go forward, as your steps and stone, as your journey. And if you need a space to say it to someone who will handle it carefully, the reclaim session is that space. One, come and say the things you have been hiding for this long. I know most of us sometimes we couldn't speak up. If you hear someone who has been in your shoes, it's easier for you. If you're looking for that space, the link is in the description. I want to let you know, and I want to leave you with this. The version of your life that makes sense is here. The one with directions and purpose and a deep, settled knowing of who you truly are and who you are building or becoming. That version has not been destroyed. It has not been destroyed. It has only been revealed, and this is the time to see it come true. The role that were not even yours, expectation you have borrowed from other people's version of yourself, it's time to stop. Let's live our lives for its fullness. Let's understand the beauty we carry. Let's live our potentials. And all of that is what we need in this. That's what clarity tells us of who we are supposed to be. And what is left is the real thing. We need your unedited version. The one which does not need to be performed, but to be real. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you the hope you have desired and the future. What an amazing thing in Jeremiah 29:11. Let's remind us that God has plans, beautiful ones, which will never even fade. You did not fall apart at the wrong time. You were meant to pass through it. And that passing through it, that's what I call falling apart, which helps you to go through the valley, as David did, to the other side of life, to understand and to open another soul. Stand up straight. Listen to yourself. Love yourself. Cherish you. Lift your head high. The view from here is something. I'll see you in the next episode. But if this episode, our 12th episode, is maybe stirred something in you because it has been reminding us who we are, don't hesitate to share it with someone. Don't hesitate to give it a thumbs up, and please join our community. Love you and take care of yourself. Bye.